Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It feels crazy to say that, but I just decided I wanted to say it, so here we are. Today's video is about something that interests me very, very much, which is fashion. And I have been wanting to make this video for so long, and I finally had the opportunity to. These are the things that I think we are going to, or we need to be seeing more of in fall 2025 fashion. In preparing for this video, I looked at the fall winter fashion shows. I'm looking at the runways. I'm looking at what the new designers are doing. I am looking at people on the street, and I'm looking at social media. That is one of the top ways that we are noticing new fashion these days. Primarily Pinterest. I love Pinterest. It is my favorite form of social media. And so kind of just looking at what I'm seeing in the magazines. I even picked up a Uniqlo magazine when I was in the mall some time ago. Picking up magazines, every time I go to Dior, or picking up the catalog at Armani, I am picking these up, I'm looking through them, and I'm kind of formulating, okay, I think this is what is going to happen. So pardon me as I casually and intermittently reference my notes and these photos that I have saved to discuss what I think is going to be coming up in fall 2025 fashion. By the way, this coffee is from a cafe here in San Diego called Hinar. I love going there on the weekends. This is their orange blossom latte. It is so delicious. I love that cafe. It is Kurdish owned. They have wonderful pastries, and if you're ever in the area, you should go check them out. So intermittently, I'm going to be referencing my notes and taking a sip of this amazing drink. So I want to begin by saying that my takes are similar to a few other creators' takes, because I've seen some videos by other creators on this exact same subject, and some of our views will overlap. Some of our views will be different. And I want to say that for those views that are really just my own, those categories that I haven't seen anyone else talk about with regard to fall fashion 2025, it is really interesting to feel like those are my ideas, like, oh, okay, this is my prediction. But in reality, we all live in the same or similar zeitgeist. We all live in the same bubble. And so when it comes to these ideas that I was, when I was preparing for and making this video and thinking, oh, that's so cool, I haven't seen anyone talk about that, I know someone else is talking about it. So I don't know. It's kind of just a cool and fun observation about, creativity and what even a new idea is in this extremely globalized world where we have access to the internet and are able to see other people's ideas, with the click of a button. So there are going to be some recurring themes throughout this video that I think are sort of underlying themes that we're going to see in fall 2025 fashion. The first of those themes is brown. I think the color brown, not a quote unquote nude brown, which I feel like a lot of people associate with nude. I think a true chocolate brown, or even a darker brown, like this jacket that I'm wearing that almost looks black. I think a dark brown or a chocolate brown is going to be very in. The second of these themes is that I think we're going to be seeing a lot of natural materials. I've been noticing overall that consumers are slowly moving away from the overconsumption of fast fashion, be it Forever 21, Shein, etc., and paying more attention to the materials that they buy. One, viewing that purchase as an investment. Two, viewing it as something that is going to last them for a very long time. So I think these materials, these natural materials that we're going to be seeing in fall 2025 are obviously leather. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of suede, which leather and suede to me are two very timeless materials. Leather is extremely timeless. Suede, I think, kind of comes and goes, but either way, they are materials we've seen in the past, we will continue to see in the future. The third of these materials is wool, or some sort of wool blend. And those are the three materials I think we're going to see echoing a lot throughout fall 2025. The fourth of these themes that I think are going to echo throughout this video is maximalistic minimalism. And so what this is it adopts elements of minimalism in, for example, the color palette, where you may wear a very monochromatic or neutral-esque tone color palette, but there is sort of these elements of maximalism in the structure of what you're wearing. So we're going to see very interesting silhouettes or very structured pieces of clothing. So while it may look simple, it really is going to present as elevated. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, which I think is probably on a lot of people's minds, is a trench. The ever so iconic detective English cold weather trench is in, and I am so here for it. I love layering. I love a good coat, and a trench presents so many opportunities for a beautiful silhouette or a very, structured overlayer to kind of bring everything together, or something so sort of slouchy and flimsy to turn your outfit into something elevated, yet maybe a little casual. A trench coat, I think, is a wonderful thing. A lot of times they come with wool liners, and a lot of times they are impermeable. So they are wonderful for different types of weather, and I think they're extremely versatile coats. They typically also come in a neutral color, so you can, if you choose a trench, whether it be black, gray, green, khaki, olive, I've even seen some red, you can kind of pick a color that's going to match all of your outfits. It's a wonderful, in my opinion, almost one size fits all type of piece. The trenches that I have seen are varying in different colors. I think the top color I have seen is a sort of khaki color, but I've also seen it in, like I talked about before, brown. There are some brown trench coats. I've seen it come in a sort of suede-ish material, and I've seen it come in like a wool blend material. I've seen outfits with the ever classic Burberry trench, and then there are people wearing, for example, a red trench or a beautiful green trench with other elements and other colors in it. And I love how people are wearing this. I think the minimalist maximalist element of a trench that we're seeing is a trench over a sort of monochromatic or very neutral, earthy toned outfit, where the trench is going to add length where there's no length there. It's going to add some additional dimension, or you can close it up and wear it with a belt. So you have broad shoulders, you're going to have a cinched waist, and a long leg. I think that creates a beautiful silhouette. Another sort of jacket that I have seen people wearing is a modified trench. And this trench can be a little cropped, so you can wear it casually, with some jeans or whatnot. And sometimes it's even made of khaki material, so it has just that extra sort of starchy-ish structure to it. Sometimes the trench will have a cape, for example, or a hood. And this allows, I think, the style to just have a little bit of extra something. For example, I saw this trench, and it's very maximalist minimalist to me, where we have a monochromatic trench, we have neutral boots, a neutral bag, and the trench has this long flowing cape and a cinched waist. So it's not drawing too much attention. It's a neutral color, but we have just a gorgeous, beautiful silhouette. Long story short, I love a good trench. I've been on the look for one, and once I find the right one, I will be purchasing it. The next thing that I think is going to be big and in is a big slouchy bag. A hobo-esque bag. A bag that's going to fit lots of things. And I think the most popular color of this bag, inevitably, is going to be brown. Now, I have seen so many people wear a big brown slouchy bag. This is something I personally have wanted for months, and I have been looking for every single day after work. The ones that I really like are priced really high, and maybe I can afford them, maybe I can't, I don't know. I'm just waiting to find one at a right price point that I absolutely love. What I love about the shift from spring, summer to fall, winter is in the spring and summer, you have lots of underarm little handbags, right? They're cute, they're a little dainty. You don't need much in the summer. You're free, it's fun. You need your credit card, you need your ID, you need a lip gloss, maybe you need some perfume. I don't know what else you know, but you don't need that much, okay? And your shoulders are either bare or you're just wearing, a little shirt, a little dress, a little sweater. And so that bag is going to fit nicely over your arm and underneath very perfectly. When it comes to fall, winter, we're wearing things like this. This is big. This is a lot of material. And a handbag may not be able to fit all this, so we need a bigger bag. We need a bag that's going to fit over all of our layers. And so in come these beautiful, wonderful, huge bags. And I think the ones of this fall are going to be slouchy. I do think there is still a little bit of a structure to the bag, but a bag that is either going to work as a crossbody or some sort of sling bag, very similar sometimes to a tote, but it is elevated, it is beautiful, and I've seen this come in a few other colors. I've seen some greens, obviously. I've seen black. I've seen a little bit of red or just a beautiful burgundy color. Burgundy, by the way, is another color I think is very in this fall. And these big slouchy bags that you put on your shoulder, you put over you as a crossbody or a sling, or you even carry as a big floppy clutch. I've seen Coach do a very beautiful, huge clutch. I think it was Tracy Ellis Ross that put up a picture with it, and it looked so good. She always looks so good, obviously. But these are the bags that I think are in. And they're perfect when you think about it because, for example, going to work, going to school, it's going to fit your laptop, it's going to fit your books, your pens, your pencils, your wallet. In the fall, winter, we're layering up a little bit. We have gloves. We might have a hat in the fall. We might have a scarf. We might have a change of shoes for later. That bag is going to fit all of those things. Ferragamo also has some very big, beautiful bags that I love, and I think Bottega plays well to this as well, especially with their woven leather, because it is beautifully made, beautifully structured, but the leather just kind of, falls and sinks in a very elegant way that I think lends itself well to a slouchy bag. The third trend that I think we're going to see this fall are flat sneakers. Now, I remember walking into Louis Vuitton on the Champs-Elysees in Paris in summer 2024, and I saw this pair of almost mango yellow, but still a little bit neutral, flat suede sneaker. There's suede again. I think suede in these sneakers is going to be very big. And thinking they were so cute. No, I did not buy them. No, I could not afford them. I still love them though. And just thinking, okay, this is it. Because we were just moving beyond the era of everyone getting into the Adidas Gazelle type of sneaker. And this one, it's a little bit more flat, it's a little bit more dainty, a little bit more elevated, and I think this is what's going to be in. I've seen some made by Puma, I've seen some by Adidas. Obviously the Louis Vuitton ones are the ones that really stuck out to me, and I think that this dainty little tennis flat kind of goes hand in hand with this other trend that I see happening, and that is the tennis ballet flat. This is, I think, a little bit of a controversial trend, but I think it's so cute. Flats have made a huge comeback, and I think by turning them into this tennis shoe, they're being modified in a way that lends itself wonderfully to the fall. We're going to be walking in these. They're going to be comfy. It's fall, so we need socks with them. And they look so cute with a few other pieces that I think are going to be trending in terms of creating a whole outfit. I am into these. I know the Onitsuka Tigers kind of became really big, and I think this kind of has elements of that. I think Simone Rocha has a very cool type of ballet flat sneaker, and I see this working very, very well. The next trend that I want to talk about is denim, specifically dark denim and or a selvage denim. I think denim is going to be so in fall 2025. I think it already is. And I think a full denim outfit specifically is going to be in. I think that denim lends itself beautifully to this maximalist, minimalist type of idea, because it is, especially if you're wearing a matching denim top and bottom, we are wearing something monochromatic, but denim is starchy and it can hold a structure to it. I've seen a very, very basic, very basic button-up dark denim jacket paired with dark denim jeans, but then some designers are getting really creative when it comes to the pockets or the metal detailing on the denim jackets or the tailoring, where a jacket will fit very structured, very well. It will have a clearly tailored in cinched waist and will then go back down to finish the jacket. I think this also goes very much hand in hand with the trend of barrel jeans. Barrel jeans start at a cinched waist, they bring the legs out and they bring them back in. And when you have a singular color monochromatic dark denim outfit with especially a very almost boxy but well-fitting, very well-structured denim top, I think that the barrel jeans are wonderful. Some designers have taken these jackets to levels that I think are really beautiful. I've seen a jacket that reminds me almost of a barrel jean, but the sleeves are where it goes out. And I think that just looks so good. I have seen denim be incorporated into like a cape style. I have seen the buttons go in directions that are not traditional for a straight up and down button denim jacket. And of course we have the dark denim selvage jeans with the very big cuffs at the bottom, which I'm a huge fan of. I think that's going to be very big this fall. The next trend that I want to talk about is actually something that I'm wearing right now. It is the slouchy, cinched at the bottom, floppy, comfy, warm, flexible bomber jacket in a dark brown. I think we're going to be seeing so many of these, not just in dark brown, but in other colors. And I think these are going to be coming in leather, and I think they're going to be coming in suede. I think this is also a wonderful jacket that is extremely versatile. It lends itself well to so many outfits and lends itself well to different kinds of weather as well. This is one that I thrifted. This is Vintage Alfani, and it is so, so, so dark brown. It looks almost black, but that's what I wanted, so it's fine. And I think these jackets, you have your very typical, like this is just one that just zips right up and down, but I've seen some with buttons. I have seen some where the neck has gone up. That's another thing. People are buttoning to the top, button to the top, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I think this is maybe an addition or maybe an alternative to the beautiful trench. I think it is more youthful. I do think a trench tends to look more mature. Sometimes I think it tends to look more elevated, and this tends to look still fashionable, but a little bit more relaxed. But this jacket, especially because it's leather and or suede, we're going to be matching and mixing fabrics with the leather bag, maybe with a leather boot, maybe with a cute little flat. I don't know. This is something that I think is perfect, especially if you're trying to capsule your wardrobe for the fall. The next thing that I want to talk about is a white t-shirt. And when I say that, I don't mean any white t-shirt. I mean, as I talked about before, a beautifully structured white t-shirt that fits you perfectly. So there is no perfect t-shirt for me to recommend because everyone is built different and everyone is comfortable in different things. One, I think it's going to be structured and built well. Two, I think it's going to be made of a nice material, probably 100% cotton, but we could see something else. Three, it's going to be comfy and it's going to be breathable because we're starting to layer in the fall. So I think a plain white tee with some jeans or a skirt is something to start the fall off with, and we're gonna start layering it at the end of the fall. And I think a beautiful, crisp, clean, comfortable white t-shirt looks so good. I think it's so sophisticated, and I think it is one of the basics of a fashion wardrobe that just looks so good with everything. The next two things I want to talk about are kind of on this theme of good materials, and that is bras and socks. I think we are going to start or need, this is advice, I guess, for you and for me and for everyone. This is the time to start wearing socks made out of good natural materials and a very, very comfortable bra, if you wear a bra. The reason that I think that we need a comfortable bra is because we're going to start layering. When you start layering, if you're sweating, etc., it's the fall, it's not quite cool yet. We might sweat if we're moving around. We might get uncomfortable wearing all these layers. You want your base layer. If you're wearing a bra, you want the bra to be comfortable. You want it to be breathable. You want it to have a little bit of stretch. And you may want it to look, good with whatever you happen to be wearing over top. I think this is a different conversation than the conversation about summer underclothing. The same thing with socks. When it comes to fall, we are starting to wear closed-toed shoes. When I say we, I mean me, okay? I'm a Birkenstock wearer through and through. I'm actually wearing them right now. And unless I go to work, I'm wearing my Birkenstocks. I like having my toes out. But it gets to a point where it's too cold to do that anymore, and we have to start wearing closed-toed shoes. What happens when you wear closed-toed shoes? Too many of us. We sweat, okay? If you wear a natural material, if you're wearing a beautifully knit wool sock, one, it's gonna look so much cuter than a sock made of a synthetic material. It just looks better. And when you wear natural materials together, I think as a whole, the ensemble looks better. Two, you are going to sweat less. Natural materials, cotton, wool, they're more breathable. And three, your socks are not going to smell. And if they smell, they're not going to smell nearly as much as they do. Picture yourself with a tennis shoe, okay, a suede tennis shoe. Or, if you're wearing shoes made of synthetic material, they are going to trap the heat. Your socks are going to help you, especially if we're wearing a boot, especially if we're wearing a tennis shoe. We're wearing something where the feet cannot breathe. We need to be wearing natural socks. And you will have them forever. If you wash them and take care of them, you'll have them forever. They're a wonderful, beautiful investment, and I think that as an accessory or as a part of your outfit, they look so cute. The next thing I want to talk about is a wool blend midi maxi pleated skirt. I think this is in. I think there's a bit of an equestrian style happening. I think that as far as maximalist minimalist goes, a skirt of this length lends itself beautifully to create a very basic, almost like, I don't know, like Uniqlo-esque silhouette to the body. And I think that in a wool blend, seeing the natural material, especially contrasted with, for example, a leather boot or a suede boot, looks gorgeous. I say wool blend because when we have a pleated wool or wool blend skirt, it's going to keep the structure of those pleats so beautifully, and it's going to look so good. I am picturing this with a boot specifically. I'm picturing this with a leather boot, but at the same time, maybe with a flat. I'm seeing a lot of it with heels. Now, as we move away from the very specific wool blend midi maxi skirt, I think we're also going to be seeing a midi maxi skirt in other fabric blends. I just think that the wool blend is the best, and that's what I want to see. Another trend that involves skirts that I think is going to be happening this fall is the micro skirt and or the micro short. I think girls are going to be wearing these, either a micro skirt or a micro short with a boot up to the knee and or some sort of shoe that is going to elongate the leg, like a flat with a very tall sock, and a jacket, such as the jacket that I'm wearing right now. I think that we saw so much of the micro short this summer and spring. I think we've seen so much of the mini skirt in the last few years, and I think that for the fall this year, that's what we're going to be seeing. I think we're going to be seeing tiny, tiny, tiny little shorts and big, tall boots and or skirts. And I think it's cute. I think it's really cute, especially for the beginning of fall. I know a lot of girls lately have been getting into like the nude colored tights. So you can wear these tiny little skirts out in the fall weather and be cold. But the tights are going to keep your legs warm, so you can still do what you want with fashion, which I think is great. I think we're going to be seeing these, like I said, with a big bomber jacket or with some type of sweater. And I don't know. This is what I see happening. This is cute. I don't think it's my favorite trend. I don't think it is the most sophisticated trend. What I do like about this trend is that you can make it cute for going out to the, during the day. You're going to go get brunch. You're going to go to the farmer's market. You are going to go walk around, maybe go to a coffee shop, hang out with friends. You can elevate this look for the night too, which I think is cool. What I like a little bit more is long shorts. A long short with a boot for the fall, with a sweater or with a bomber jacket. I don't know. There's something about the long shorts, and I think it's going to be cute. Finally, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's sweaters. Obviously, sweaters are going to be in this fall. I think we're going to be seeing sweaters in neutral colors and or brown, green, red, gray, and every other color. Obviously, those are the ones that I think we're going to be seeing. I think we're going to be seeing sweaters worn more intentionally as sweaters rather than just a little something you throw on. I think we're going to be seeing sweaters made of a good material, layered with maybe a white tee underneath, sweaters with cool buttons, sweaters tucked into a long skirt. I think we're going to be seeing sweaters in denim. I think we're going to see sweaters being worn with a mini skirt or with micro shorts. And I think we're going to see sweaters being worn in a cool way. So we have the typical cardigan and we have the typical pullover with a crew neck. I think we're going to be seeing sweaters with higher necks because, like I said, button to the top, I think that's in. I think a high neck is going to be in. I do think that is more elevated. I do think it is. I think it's very classy. And when I say elevated, that is not to say that something that I don't deem to be elevated isn't, a dignified fashion. It is. That's just the word that I'm choosing to use. I think it's a little bit more high fashion. I think it's a little bit more sophisticated, and I think it is a little bit more mature. So anyway, that's my take on Fall Fashion 2025. That is what I think we're going to be seeing in the zeitgeist. I think we're going to be seeing it on Pinterest. I think you're going to see your friends wearing it in some way or another. And I think whether or not you even realize it, you probably have been wanting or liking one of these things. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to see how fashion works. Those are my takes. Like them, adopt them, disagree with them, hate them. It's totally up to you. Anyway, these are the things I have found really chic, really cool, and think that we can expect to see more of as we delve into the fall months. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other next time.